What is up, everybody? Welcome to bracket number 3 of the Marvel exhibition matches, and I'm so excited for this tournament. I'm so excited for this bracket. You have Mark and Ryan with their chances to battle each other for something that will be determined later. Well, at least who wins later. Let's go ahead and get to them.
This is Mark the Maniac Camire. This is my first Marvel Battleground, so I'm here to take names, kick ass.
NWA represent.
Short and sweet. Love it. And Ryan, go ahead and tell us why you're excited for these matches.
Hey, this is Ryan, the Caramel Mountain out for everybody. And I'm excited for this round because I love Marvel movies, not just for the viewing in general, but the one thing I love about Marvel is we get to talk about the nitty-gritty. We get to talk about why we love them, including Easter eggs, what we think is right. So I can't wait for this match. And I look to redeem myself for my last Battleground match.
All right. I love it. I love it. All right. That was some great promos, but I'm not here to do this by myself. Let me introduce my panelists and my judges for tonight. Jay Burns, tell them what it is.
What up, though? It's Jay Burns. I'm here to let you know that I will be fair and balanced. TM, faux news on your asses. I shouldn't say that because it means that I'm going to be biased. I'm going to try to keep myself as unbiased as possible in these arguments. I will let you know what I think your best portion of your argument is, what I think your weakest portion of the argument is, and I will give points accordingly. So just make sure that you follow the letter of the question. And I'm just happy to be here. Peace.
Sweet. Let's go to Joe, man. How you feeling about judging this bracket 3, man? How you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling great. It's my first time judging a match, so I'm very excited. I'm all about the arguments. I look forward to seeing what these guys bring to the table and giving points based on the arguments and not my own biases.
Awesome. I love it, and I'm here and I'm excited. Let's get this going. Let's start off with round 1. And round 1, the first question is, which Marvel villain is the most sympathetic? And we're going to go to Mark first. Mark, you have 90 seconds on the clock when you start talking.
Without a doubt, I think everyone's favorite villain is always going to be Loki. Now, maybe, there might be some arguments for some other villains, but we're talking about the most sympathetic. And there is no question in my mind the most sympathetic is Eric Killmonger. That's right, from Black Panther, Michael B. Jordan playing him himself. The guy lost everything he has ever known. His father, his home. He didn't even know. He's never even been to Wakanda, but he grew up learning about it, this great grand place. He says, growing up believing in fairy tales because that's what Wakanda was. This mythological land that he's from, and he never got to see it until he decided to take his place as king, to challenge T'Challa because he felt he is owed. And how can you blame him? He is an African-American man living in America in a place that he feels hates him, whereas he could have grown up in his true home, a place where he could have felt equal or someone of importance, and he never got that. So he took what he is owed because he feels he was cheated out of it.
Time.
Nice. All right, Mark. Heading over to Ryan. Mark got Eric Killmonger, man. Ryan, who are you bringing to the battle? 90 seconds on the board when you're ready to start.
My choice for the most sympathetic Marvel villain, I decided to go outside of the movie that is still within the MCU, and that is from the TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the character of Grant Ward. Now, you're going to ask me, why is Grant Ward sympathetic? Well, here we go. In the start of the show, season 1, he came on as a spy, someone joining Phil Coulson's group. We get to be through our eyes. We experience Ward's ups and downs, his flaws, his strengths, how he molds himself with the team. And then in the midst of season 1, it's revealed he is secretly a Hydra agent. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But from there on, we not only do we experience his flaws, but this time it's from a different perspective, okay? Ward subverts our expectations, but even though we still like him because we have grown to care for this guy, and just by every other villain in the MCU, his actions have consequences. I'm going to get more into why he is sympathetic, but he's the one villain who always has the shot of redemption, but he is always just slightly 10 degrees off. He remains a villain all the way to the end. That is going to be my argument for Grant Ward.
All right. We have Grant Ward and Eric Killmonger going into this debate round. Guys, you have 5 minutes on the board to argue why your villain is the most sympathetic villain. Whoever starts first gets that 5 minutes going.
Well, I mean, this is a no-brainer. Grant Ward, you talk about redemption. You talk about the most sympathetic. No, Grant Ward, as you say, is a villain throughout the entire thing. He's a Hydra agent. At no point does he do anything that would allow himself to be redeemed. The one thing, he finally decides to be honest with Daisy and says, oh yeah, you know what? I was Hydra, but my feelings for you are genuine. He's selfish. He is an absolute selfish bastard all the way through, even when he dies. Spoiler. And then he comes back, spoiler again, as the literal personification of the Hydra alien.
Okay, I'm going to cut you off there. That's not really Ward. Ward dies right there in season 3. And to bring back what you said about him in season 1 with Daisy. Reason why he reveals his true feelings to Daisy, because that's the one purely good thing about himself that he's willing to open himself to. And yes, he was a Hydra agent. He was human. He made mistakes. He had flaws. It was something that we as the audience can grow towards. And even towards the end of season 1, when he gets arrested, you still believe there is a shot of redemption in him. Killmonger, on the other hand, the moment he gets to Wakanda, the story is all about him. Because let's not forget, for the first 2/3 of Black Panther, it's all about Claw. T'Challa going after Claw. Killmonger sneaks in after he kills Claw. And then the later third of the movie is all about his motivation.
Well, the only reason that Claw got to be back on the radar is because of his involvement with Eric Killmonger. Killmonger literally brings him back into the fold because Claw is already long since he knows not to mess with the Wakandans. He's had a run in. He knows better than that. But here comes Killmonger saying, "Hey, look, no. I know how to get vibranium. I know how to help out with your operation here." At no point does Grant Ward do anything that would regale him to become a redemptive character. He just wants to be Daisy.
Back to season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What he does, the moment he breaks out of custody, he tries his best. Once he takes care of his personal vendetta, he does his best to get him back to the team. He apologizes to Ward. He apologizes to everybody he has betrayed. And even then, that is not enough. To us, we feel he deserves redemption, but it's only until when Gemma Simmons of the team secretly plans to kill him, you think that he has nobody else to trust. And let's go back with Claw. Yes, he has an in with Claw when it comes to Wakanda. But who's to say that Killmonger didn't reach out to Claw as a means to an end? Because let's just say he holds Claw responsible for his father's death, which might count to sympathy. But here's the thing. He never changes throughout the rest of the movie. Everyone keeps saying they want him back. I think his ending is fitting because he is a man who committed to himself. Ward, on the other hand, like I'm saying, he was human. He doubted himself. He thought he was always doing the right thing. He was loyal to somebody who was loyal to Hydra. Turns out that belief system is flawed. Where does he go from there? He was
loyal to himself. That's true. You're very right about that. Except for once he was free of the stigma of hiding in S.H.I.E.L.D., being a Hydra agent, he decided, I'm just going to do what I want. And at no point does he do anything good from that point all the way up to his death. He's trying to be sympathetic towards Daisy. But here's the thing. We're not talking about redemption. We're talking about sympathetic. And you're right. Killmonger doesn't change, except for he goes on the journey he's been preparing for his whole life, because it's all about vengeance. It's all about being it's all about taking his mantle of what was denied him. Now, he wasn't ever supposed to be king. This is true. But how are we supposed to know? Because he was denied the family. was betrayed by his family. T'Chaka kills his father, his brother, and then he has to grow up on his own in the system. He has to grow up hating Wakanda, and how can you blame him? Because this homeland that he should have been brought to was denied him because T'Chaka decided, oh, it's just best we leave that kid there.
Things with Grant Ward. He grew up with a senator father. He grew up with a mother and father who hated him. His own brother, his older brother, made him throw his little brother into a well and watch him struggle to breathe, struggle to stay alive. Ward has carried that guilt with him his entire life. He gets a father figure from a guy who's a Hydra agent, and he's loyal to him. He's told to hate S.H.I.E.L.D. too, but then he meets Bill Coulson and his team, and he grows to love them. And he always has to deal with that back and forth.
But it's a ruse. It's all a ruse because he's Hydra.
Time.
Woo, it's getting heated. It is getting heated. And since we went to Mark first, we're going to hit it off with Ryan for his closing. Ryan, you have 60 seconds on the clock, man. Hit us to why Grant Ward is the most sympathetic Marvel villain.
What makes Grant Ward a sympathetic Marvel villain is, as I said, from the start of season 1, we are seeing this world through his eyes. We are experiencing his ups and downs, his struggles, his bond with the team. So when it is revealed he is a Hydra agent, from there on, we are conflicted. We want to hate this guy, but at the same time, we will love him because it goes to credit to the actor who portrays him, Brett Dalton. Brett Dalton does a great job giving us a conflicted soul who wants to do good, but ultimately in the end knows he cannot be redeemed, no matter how hard he does try. And the show does a great job. They could have did the whole cookie cutter, he redeemed himself and then he's back in their good graces. No, they keep him in the gray area. They keep him conflicted. So until when he is killed off, you start to believe maybe, just maybe, there was a sign of redemption in him, that he still could have continued on throughout the show as his gray area to where finally, when the series does end, he gets the ultimate redemption that you are clamoring for.
Time.
Which makes him a great character.
Time.
Okay.
All right, Mark. Eric Killmonger. 60 seconds when you start talking. Why is he the most sympathetic Marvel villain?
You're a kid, and you're told that your home is this magical kingdom full of great, wonderful things. And one day, you're going to go there. But instead, it's cut short because your father has been killed by his own brother, the king of Wakanda, of this magical fairy tale land. And you're left there all alone. You are left there because in your mind, what do you think? That you're not important, that you're no one. What does that do to a kid? What does that do to you? Everything people have told you, everything you've learned about this place that you're supposed to go to, and you grow up as a bitter, angry soldier, and you're going to take war to the home that you were once denied. And how can you not feel sympathy for that poor kid who was denied his birthright at least just being in this home where he can be who he is and not have to hide, not have to pretend?
Time.
Woo! That first round, though. So judges were on the clock. 30 seconds. I'm gonna go to Jay first. Jay, where are you feeling about this match? How are you feeling?
Since I'm the stickler for time here, it's a little bit of an uphill battle for Ryan himself, because he is talking about a character that has to grow on you like a fungus over many seasons of a show, whereas with Killmonger you really don't. But I still heard more from Killmonger as to why he is this downtrodden individual and why he is sympathetic than I did from, oh, his dad's a senator and he had to almost drown his brother.
All right, Joe, where are you laying on this? 30 seconds.
Points going to Mark. He gave more on why he was sympathetic. Ryan focused more on what made Ward redeemable. But yeah, Mark, with the whole sympathy with him having a kid, birthright stripped away, got to give it to Mark.
All right, that's one question down. We're back with number 2. Ryan, you're going to be up first, and the question is, best action sequence in a Marvel film. You have 90 seconds on the board. Tell us who you got.
All right, I'm just going to kick it off strong, and here's my choice. I chose the Battle of Xandar in Guardians of the Galaxy. I chose this battle because it's a build up to the entire tension of the first movie. From the introduction of Peter Quill, Ronan, and all the others, there was a whole object around the orb, which holds the Power Stone. But when Ronan gets his hands on it, he decides to do what he was always going to do. He states in the beginning, he's going to kill everyone who has wronged him, and he starts with Xandar. Peter Quill, Gamora, Groot, Rocket, and Drax, they've all gone through this journey to where they have to realize, are they just going to let Ronan do what he wants with it? Or are they going to stand together and fight him? They choose to stand and fight. And this battle shows that they are teaming up with people who they would not want to team up on any other day. And they have to show that they care about people, that they have to actually fight hard. This battle challenges them. And I'm going to end right there before time runs out.
All right, Mark. Best action sequence in a Marvel film. Lay it on me. 90 seconds.
It's easy to say a sequence which we just saw in Endgame, but why bother? Let's go to the clear winner. Let's go to the literal splash page of a comic book put on screen. It's the airport confrontation scene in Captain America's Civil War. A 16-minute action sequence of people that are heroes fighting each other. It's Civil War, man. The title of the movie is Civil War. Here it is. Here is the war laid out right in front of you. And not that I want to get too far into it, but look, this was amazing when we saw it. This was something we didn't think we'd ever see, not to mention the fact that, hey, we're getting a Civil War movie. Is it like the comics? No. We're going to focus on the movie. In the context of the movie universe, the MCU, this makes sense. This was all coming to a head, and we bought into it. We didn't think we'd ever see our heroes fighting each other on screen like that. Not like that. It's amazing. It's fantastic. 16 minutes of pure bliss.
Time.
All right. Mark bringing it right to time. All right, Mark, Ryan. Airport scene, Civil War, or Xandar? Who's winning? 5 minutes on the board. Tell me why yours is the best.
Well, when you said that the airport battle in Civil War was like a comic splash page, I could say the same thing for the Battle of Xandar. We have air fights. We have a fight between the Ravagers. We have a fight between with the Nova Corps. We also have a fight with Ronan's gang, his group. And as you can see throughout this plays almost close to a war battle, because you have, in the beginning, the Ravagers, they're going to hit hard in guerrilla warfare tactics. Then Ronan shows his brute force. The Nova Corps comes as a second wind, but then Ronan shows that he's not just a brute, he is smart. He changes his tactics to where he starts to attack the people. And from there, the Guardians have to try to navigate. They have to call audibles. They have to really be pushed to their limits on how they can still get to Ronan, but at the same time, try to save the people of Xandar. The airport battle, I'll admit, I preferred Captain Bucky versus Iron Man as the true Civil War battle. This one just felt like a riot, honestly. Two sides that are just in each other's way. Well,
it's interesting you say that the Xandar battle feels like a comic book splash page, because the thing about comic book splash pages is it's very clear, it's very illustrative, very awesome. The Xandar battle is messy. There are like 5,000 different things going on all at once, and on the Civil War airport sequence, you can see everything clearly. You're following each character, each little duel they're having with one another, and of course, the big moment where they all collide with one another. But here's the most important thing you're forgetting. These are characters we care about. We don't care about the Nova Corps because we've only met John C. Reilly. We don't care about the Ravagers involved with them because we only know about Yondu and, of course, Peter Quill and stuff. But and then, of course, the nameless Sakarans or whatever Ronan's army is. And there's another one, Ronan. Look, I, as a comic book fan, like Ronan as a character, but in the movies, he's given us jack shit. And so we don't care that that's who they're fighting. We want him to see him go down. We want him to fail, and he's going to fail. In Civil War, we don't know what's going to happen because these are people we love and care about.
Force. Ronan is with that Power Stone. But the thing is, on the other side of that glass, we're trying to see the Guardians work together as a team. The moment they get into Ronan's ship, from there on, it is nothing but fight after fight. We have Gamora going up against Nebula. We have Groot. Oh my God, Groot, for Christ's sakes. We're finally seeing how Groot is in a fight when we see Quill and Drax go up against the goes up against Korath. And you want to talk about the Nova Corps. The Nova Corps shows in that airport battle, in that air battle scene, why they are a force. That huge blockade they have on Ronan's ship. They hold him out until Ronan had to get his hands dirty himself.
They're all nameless numbers because they all die after that little gate sequence doesn't work, you know. So it honestly doesn't matter.
It has an impact though. The moment Ronan destroys the Nova Corps, that death still has impact. James Gunn actually commits a minute or so in order to show the impact. The airport scene, sure, it shows everybody, but the problem is
it's all impact.
Quick cuts to quick cut to quick cut to quick cut. Even after when it does that little rundown on the airport scene. I mean, for Christ's sakes, the only good part I can say out of that airport scene was Ant-Man going big. Everything else was...
You must have not been watching the same movie because there's the quips in between, like all the fights. Everyone's having quippy dialogue because remember, these are people that care about one another. These are friends. This is like essentially family, give or take a Black Panther and a Spider-Man here because they just joined the fold, but they all have personal reasons. They have all personal reasons for being there.
In Black Widow, where they say we're still friends depending on how hard you hit me. Even Scarlet Witch has to say you're holding your punches. And even later on,
1 minute. 1 minute.
Because this is a family fighting one another.
Everybody except for Spider-Man and Black Panther were holding back in that fight, which is why I could not commit to that, which is why I like Cap and Bucky versus Iron Man better, because Tony is not holding back. In this one, Tony is just trying to arrest them. This one, in the later fight, Tony is trying to kill, which is why I think Xandar is much better, because Ronan, he has made his intentions straightforward. He's going to kill everybody there. And Peter and all the other Guardians, they have to put aside their personal differences, their personal ambitions in order to stop Ronan. And it doesn't stop there with the fight in the air. It even leads to the ground to where Peter does that singing distraction. Sure, it might not be a part of the battle, but the battle does not end until Ronan is gone. And all of it culminates in the Guardians being able to not only lean on each other, but open themselves.
Time.
All
right. We went to Ryan first. We're going over to Mark. Mark, 60 seconds on the clock. When you start talking, tell us why the airport scene is the best action sequence in Marvel films.
Well, you said it. We get a sequence where we actually get to see Ant-Man become Giant Man. Out of nowhere, we get to see a moment of Captain America and Spider-Man having banter with one another as they're fighting. This is amazing. So not only is our heart breaking as we're watching this sequence of these Avengers, all of these superheroes fighting one another, people we care about and love, but we're also having fun. We're sitting in the theater going, this is amazing. Look at the visuals. Look at the fight sequences, man. This is incredible when it comes to Vision almost blowing. Oh, no, he blows Rhodey out of the sky because he's distracted. It's Ant-Man turning into Giant Man. It is Spider-Man. Spider-Man interacting with the Avengers, fighting Captain America. And then, of course, the moment where they all have the confrontation running at each other. I mean, this is just a fanboy's wet dream, to be a little vulgar about it. But this is what we always wanted without realizing this is what we want.
Time.
All right, Ryan. Tell us why Xandar wins it.
What makes the Xandar battle a great action sequence is because it's from start to finish, it plays out like a war battle from the skies to the ground. Everybody in that battle shows off their abilities. You have the Guardians showing themselves how capable they can be when they're inside of Ronan's ship. In the start, you are seeing why Yondu is the leader of the Ravagers. You see how he's able to command the Ravagers to actually be an efficient fighting force. You see the Nova Corps showing why they are Xandar's best defense leading up to when they are completely destroyed. Because when Nova Corps is destroyed, that is when Ronan is unstoppable from there. And everything, it tests, as I mentioned before, this is a test for the Guardians. This is to show that they are willing to put themselves on the line for everybody on the planet who don't know them or don't care about them. And ultimately, in the end, it not only shows that they are willing to be protectors, but they are willing to protect each other.
Time. All right. Woo. This battle, man. I'm gonna go ahead and go to Joe first. Joe, 30 seconds on the clock. Who do you got right now?
I'm going to have to give it to Mark on this one again. He talks about how it is more how we're feeling for these characters and the quick cuts, even though Ryan brought up the quick cuts, but Mark was able to shoot back with all the interactions between each other. Ryan gave up why it was a great battle, but he didn't really ever hit home on why it was the best. I think Mark bringing up what we felt as the audience was going with what the audience was expecting and how it played to that shows how he had just the better argument for why it was the best and not just a great sequence.
Time.
Okay, good stuff. I am next. Short and sweet. I'll keep it to the point. Mark is going to get my point due to the fact is that he explained it a little bit better to why it was an overall best action sequence. You, Ryan, had, just like Joe said, explained that it was a good action sequence, but you didn't really give that oomph to why it was the best. So Mark is going to get my point. All right. After that, it's 2-0 Mark right now. Ryan, you got a little bit of an uphill battle, but you got this, man. Let's bring it home. After Iron Man, Cap, and Thor no longer can lead the Avengers, who should lead them now? And we're going to go ahead and start with Mark on this since he started the second last round. Mark, 90 seconds on the clock. Who do you got?
That's the mystery, isn't it? But to me, it is no mystery, and there's a theme you'll see here, evidently. It's Black Panther. Why Black Panther? Maybe the obvious choice, because he's a natural leader. He's the king of his own nation. Obvious, you say? Sure. I say no-brainer. No-brainer. He's got the knowledge. He's got the technology, which, by the way, at this point, or at least we hope he's sharing with the world. So, I mean, yeah, that's cool, right? You want an Avenger to lead the team who is a man of the world, is a man of the people. He is sharing with the world. That's who he is. And, I mean, like I said, he's got the intelligence. Unfortunately, some of the other Avengers are off doing their own things, and you could make the argument that T'Challa is going to be busy with his own nation. But to be honest with you, he's a king and he's a superhero. You don't take both of those jobs without knowing that it takes on a huge responsibility. And who better than to take on the Avengers as their new leader than the most responsible? And it's got to be T'Challa, the Black Panther.
All right. Mark's bringing Black Panther to lead the Avengers. Ryan, who do you got? 90 seconds on the board when you start speaking.
I mean, if you want to talk about a character who not only should, in my mind, be the next leader of the Avengers, but somebody who actually, just like Tony, Cap, and Thor, should deserve to have a conclusion to his story, and that is Hulk. And I'm talking about the newly fusion-formed Hulk with Banner's intelligence and the Hulk's muscle. As you see from the beginning of the MCU, and I'm talking about the Incredible Hulk movie, everyone wants to disclaim, there was an arc for Banner of him having to try to accept the turmoil that was happening inside of him. Even in the Avengers movies, even though he finds a way to deal with it, throughout the entire, from the first Avengers and leading onwards, there's always been that struggle within him, and even with his bonds that he's formed with Cap, Tony, Thor, Natasha, he has always been seen as a team player. He knows the Avengers team very well, so he can be the next person to lead them. And also, we have to address that, just like as I said, we don't have a conclusion for his story yet. Him being the leader of the Avengers would be a great send-off for him because we have a spot where he can finally be happy. Oh, I'm stopped.
All right. So we have Professor Hulk versus Black Panther. And we got 5 minutes on the board. First person to speak starts that counter.
How can you say this is the end of a story for the guy when if he's going to take the leadership role, that's just the beginning? And we just begun to explore Black Panther. That's why he's the natural leader. Professor Hulk, while I love him, while he is entertaining, his arc is done. With Natasha gone, he's not going to know what to do with himself anymore. Not to mention, I don't know how long it's going to take him to heal that arm of his, but I mean, he's going to take a while.
has the Avengers building that Tony has left behind. And as I've met, you want to talk about intelligence with T'Challa? Bruce Banner was already an intelligent man. During that 5-year gap, he finally came to accept the Hulk. And when he did that, he became a much better person. Even though, yes, he has lost Natasha, but he is still a more stable person. T'Challa still has to deal with Wakanda having to go 5 years without him and his sister. And let's say, maybe he is or maybe he's not a king once he's back. He still has to adjust to this Wakanda. Hulk, on the other hand, he's already familiar with the world around him that had to live after Thanos' snap. So not only is he a more suitable choice, he makes
exactly. And he wasn't leading the team back then, and he won't be leading the team this time because he doesn't know how to lead. He knows how to be Banner. He knows how to be Banner Hulk, whatever you want to call him. He doesn't know how to be a leader. He doesn't want that responsibility. If he did, he would have already taken it. And let's just assume for a second that because he merged the brains and the brawn together, he substituted a little bit extra of that brawn he once had, because we don't really see him do anything remotely close to the kind of devastation he could have done when he was regular Hulk. Whereas T'Challa has the brains. He may not be the most gifted scientific mind. He doesn't have to be. He's tactical. He knows how to lead, just like Captain America leading the Avengers. He's tactical. He's a soldier. He knows this stuff. If it was all about scientific brain, then Tony Stark would have left the Avengers, but he didn't.
Lines. Banner, yes, the intelligence, meaning he'll be able to be more strategic when it comes to missions. And you want to talk about him, that the best leaders are the ones who don't want the responsibility. Having this responsibility forced onto Banner will have to make him step up. And you want to talk about that damage he's got, that damage will make him want to take a step back to where he's going to want to start recruiting good people, to planning out missions.
You can't be a leader if you're a recruiter. That's a totally different job. And you're right. Yeah, but T'Challa is in the front lines. You want to follow the leaders who are on the front lines. Need I remind you about Infinity War, when who's the one battle when the aliens come down is T'Challa, with Cap right closely behind him, and that is symbolic, sir, because it's to show you that even though Cap was leader of the Avengers, right now it's the New Guard, and he will follow T'Challa wherever he goes. The first one through the portal in Endgame is T'Challa, and Cap looks at him, he says, and he's got tears in his eyes, and he says, "Oh my God, yes," because it's T'Challa. If anyone is remotely close to being worthy, yes, I said worthy to lead the Avengers, it is the Black Panther. I'm sorry.
Because he has the best of the big three. He has the intelligence that Tony has. He has the brawn of Thor. And also, what you want to talk about heart? He has heart just like Captain America, especially with this new version of him. He is going to be more empathetic, meaning he can deal with volatile egos. T'Challa, we don't know how he deals with everyone. They have to respect him because he was king. Now he may no longer be king. He has to be on even playing field. Hulk, on the other hand, has had to put up with a lot of shit, meaning he knows how people are going to feel, which is why he was able to talk with Thor when Thor was in his depression, why he can be able to empathize with Ant-Man. That is what I think makes a great qualities of a leader. He can be empathetic. He's going to know the best people to pick. And also, he's been around the longest, so he has the experience.
Again, you're talking about a recruiter, not a leader. The leader needs to be the guy who makes the hard decisions in the heat of the moment or in the long game. That's what a great leader does. A great leader shows the way, and just because he may not be on a personal basis with everyone yet doesn't mean he won't be. He's already got the respect of not only everyone in the Avengers, and by the way, he had the utmost respect from the Avenger, Captain America. And if it's good enough for Steve, it's good enough for everybody else. I think we've already come to that conclusion.
Favor by helping Bucky. If Steve never went to Wakanda with Bucky, who's to tell what that same level of respect would be? Because let's talk about Hulk. Sure, he might have a personal level, but at the same time, when he was still Banner, he was respected for his mind. Hulk was just seen as a big gun. So we already had to deal with duality. And when you talk about T'Challa, I mean, come on. We don't know how T'Challa works with others. If you want to talk about the people in this country, that's because
time,
guys, time. When we yell time, gotta cut that out. All right. Now we went to Mark first. So Ryan, close us out. Why Professor Hulk should be leading the Avengers? 60 seconds.
qualities of a leader is to not just lead people and inspire others, but it's to understand the motivations of everybody in the team. It's being able to balance personalities and egos in order for to show all of them to put their feelings aside in order to get the mission done. Bruce Banner, throughout each Avengers movie, he has had to put his personal issues aside, even when he becomes the Hulk. So him in this new Hulk body, he doesn't have to worry about putting his personal feelings aside. I mean, sure, we can talk about T'Challa being a king and a leader, but the thing with Hulk is that, as I said, he is familiar with this world that has had to live without Thanos. He knows how this world works. So with all these people now back from his decision, as I should say, his decision to bring everyone back, he is the right person to be the figurehead of this new Avengers team. Now, and then later on, we can finally close the story from the beginning of an Incredible Hulk, of a man just wanting to subdue his rage, to finally coming to accept that rage and having to move forward.
All right. Mark, hit me why Black Panther should be leading the Avengers. 60 seconds on the board when you're ready.
The problem is the entire journey of Hulk has always been his own personal thing, of dealing with his own personal demon. That's all he knows, is how to deal with himself personally. T'Challa has grown up learning how to deal with other people, to be a man of the people. He has grown up to learn how to be king so that when he earns it, he can actually take the mantle. T'Challa not only is the king of Wakanda, so he's going to supply his team with great vibranium tools and toys. That's nice. That's just a bonus. But the fact is, T'Challa knows what it means to be a leader. His journey has not been personal. It's about being the best version of himself he can be for the greater good of his people. And now that Wakanda's out in the open, it's for all people. And now that the big main guns of Avengers are no longer with us, or in some way, it falls upon him to lead the new guard, to usher in a new era of Avengers.
Time.
All right. Woo! This battle, this last one was definitely hard. I'm gonna go ahead and go first. With my 30 seconds on the board. So the thing that unfortunately, Ryan, you didn't battle back against was the fact that leadership skills, where Mark kept hitting you where his leadership skills were. And unfortunately, in order to lead a team, you need those leadership skills. So Mark is going to get my point for this round. And then I'm going to go to Jay. Jay, where are you seeing this?
Okay, so this was actually incredibly difficult. They both brought up really good points, but to tell you the truth, where my point lands is with the individual who was able to hit the hardest against what was said about them. Ryan, I respect the hell out of your argument. It's a fantastic argument, but Mark just beat it into the ground that a leader and a recruiter are two completely different things, and you didn't hit hard enough against that. Mark gets my point.
Cool.
The winner of the match, 3-0, is Mark with the knockout.
Wow.
So let's go ahead and go to Mark real quick. Mark, how are you feeling? This is bracket 3, so you are going to go up against somebody in bracket 4, which is Richard, the champ himself, Cody, and
Caleb Coho.
Caleb Coho. Out of all of those gentlemen, who would you want to see in the ring?
Well, you said Richard was the champ, right?
No, Cody.
Oh, Cody. Either one. Bring them both. Like I said, I have dipped my toe into this pool of amazingness, and now that I've gotten now that I've tasted the forbidden fruit, I want more.
I love it, Mark. I hope we see you in Nerd Wars and Game Zone. Ryan, the unfortunate second place victor of today, because I don't like to say loser, because it's not nice. Ryan, tell me how you're feeling about the match, man.
I mean, regardless of feelings aside, I don't regret my choices in this match. I believed in my choices because I'm a fan of not just the underdogs. I'm a fan of fighting against the popular crowd, the popular theory, because when it comes down to it, we can always talk about the best stuff because everything is subjective. And when you decide, let's say the 15%, let's say if we did a vote and 15% of the people still would have said Hulk, despite the 85% choosing T'Challa, I still would have stuck with that 15% because I believe that there's more room to grow on stories that haven't been told to us than stories that have been already told to us right in front of our faces. And it might sound cryptic, you might not understand it, but it doesn't matter because I still believe that in the end, no matter what happens, we all love Marvel movies. The MCU will not be going away. I can't wait to see what's going to happen down the line. And one thing's for sure, I'm going to try not to lose by 3 points in my next battle. That's for sure. I'm not doing another shutout again. It is mind-numbingly, soul-crushingly, I'd say boring, but God, it just sucks.
All right, Ryan, I definitely understand the pain. I hope we'll see you down the line in Nerd Wars and Game Zone as well. And as I said, from Jay, from Joe, from Mark, from Ryan, and myself, this has been Bracket 3. Stay tuned for Bracket 4. Let's see where this goes.